whose idea was this?
Over the past few months, I've been thinking a lot about how some movies ever get a green light. I mean, I don't want to complain too much because that's where I get a lot of my source material in ye olde bargain bin of whatever general store I happen to be at the time. But when you see a movie like Jesse James meets Frankenstein's daughter, you can have one of several reactions.
How in the blue blazes is that even possible? They've been making trash movies since forever, apparently. I guess it is only $5. Or, geez, I wish eye bleach was a real thing. And on and on and on.
Part of me wants to play devil's advocate here for a minute and step back from the steaming pile of movies that passes as films every now and then and look at these people for what they really are. They're people. They have hopes, dreams, and this is the line of work that they've chosen. Sometimes you've got to get your foot in the door with a Santa Claus Conquers the Martians or but, you know, is it fun? Maybe. And do you want to leave those film titles off of your resume? Most likely. But who knows? Maybe you'll end up becoming the next Robert Downey Jr. or Scarlett Johansson if you keep plodding along. But the answer is always going to be no if you don't even try. I think that's something I see a lot of in Nicolas Cage. He loves what he does and is a blast doing it. At least that's how it looks to me. Most of the time it pays off and he ends up in a blockbuster that you'll end up rewatching over and over again. But every now and then you get some flop of a movie like Knowing, and through no fault of his own, the movie just gives up halfway through and introduces aliens because of course, and the ending feels about as forced as when you are taking a multiple choice test, you feel like you should have picked C the entire time, you didn't go with your gut, and now you've got to end up retaking the class. Make sense?
Let me put it this way. You'll either live long enough to see yourself voice Spider-Man Noir, or get memed and gifted into the Internet Hall of Fame.
I think if you're going to keep trying to make analogies or whatever, you think it's a clever point. You're just going to keep confusing whoever's decided to sit through the first few minutes of what is supposed to be a review. Can you get on with it already?
You're right. This is next.
Based very loosely off a book called The Golden Man, where a man with golden skin who can see into the future and seduce women with his golden skin, the movie forgoes the latter ability and instead focuses on the prior. Chris Johnson, more commonly known by his stage name Frank Cadillac, is a Vegas magician who has the unique ability to see approximately 2 minutes into the future. Not wanting to draw too much attention to himself since his day job doesn't pay too well, he spends some evenings gaming the system in the casino, winning enough money to get by. That is until one night when he plays the hero and saves a few people from getting shot in a casino robbery and draws the attention of Callie Ferris, an FBI agent that wants him to help prevent a stolen nuclear bomb from going off. Naturally, he's not one to go quietly, so he gives her the slip because he's got something more pressing on his mind, or more importantly, someone.
Earlier in the film, he makes the point of mentioning her, a woman that he doesn't know, but is certain that he's going to meet her in a diner. From there, he has no idea what's going to happen next, but he's fairly certain it's going to be beneficial in some way.
And, as luck would have it, the next day he meets his mystery woman, Liz Cooper. Seemingly no one important, but as luck would have it, she turns out to be his ride out of Vegas and as far away from the feds as possible.
Now, up to this point, the movie does have a lot going for it. It does have a few things that aren't really deal breakers in it per se, but do raise a few questions. First, the positive bits.
Chris's use of powers are relatable and believable. He's had these powers since birth, and he's learned that when you look at the future, it changes, a point he's brought up a few times now. He wants to live a semi-normal life, but also wants to have some fun. By having fun, I refer to him hiding in plain sight and using his ability to his advantage, believing that fronting as a magician, and monetarily benefiting from that, will throw most people off of his profession and luck, though related, may not be that far-fetched. He wants to do the right thing, as evidenced by his stepping in and saving people's lives earlier.
That last point also draws light on some possible negatives as well. For instance, if we're to believe that Chris has done something like this in the past, has it drawn unwanted attention from him acting the hero before? The likely answer is yes, as we'll confirm later. The other is, it's kind of a shame that this movie is an action thriller rather than a comedy. So wouldn't it be fun to look back on some of Chris's earlier exploits?
Do you know why I pulled you over?
Because you're jealous of my mad driving skills?
What? Do you know why I pulled you over?
Because you knew I was on my way to Krispy Kreme and you wanted to give me your order?
That is seriously not funny, and I'm a vegan, you little... Do you know why I pulled you over?
Because you can smell it?
That's just wrong on so many levels. Do you know why I pulled you over?
Carl? Is that you? I haven't seen you since high school.
My name isn't Carl, and I've never seen you before in my life. Do you know why I pulled you over?
Do you ever get the feeling you're just stuck in a loop and you can't break free?
Are you trying to have a Deadpool moment?
Son, I might be.
Yeah, never mind. Let's keep going.
As I said earlier, Chris's desire to not draw too much attention to himself backfires because not only has he got the attention of the FBI, but also the terrorists because they found out the FBI was interested in Chris's ability to see into the future, and they feel that he may be key in foiling their plot.
Question here. How did they even know he could see into the future? And how did they know the FBI was interested as well?
Allow me to explain.
There's a short scene in which the main boss terrorist calls in and just says he wants him dead because he's heard rumors that Chris can see into the future, and also the FBI is interested in him. That's enough to take Chris's hypothetical power seriously.
Nice. Almost missed that. Alright, let's keep going.
Chris and Liz hit some road trouble and are forced to stay the night at a hotel. After some convenient series of events, the two fall for each other and have an off-screen roll in the hay. Liz, who earlier portrayed someone who doesn't believe in destiny, strangely decides to utter the phrase,
Maybe there is such a thing as destiny.
Is that supposed to be important?
Would it be foreshadowing? Maybe not. Who knows?
Having been followed by the FBI and the terrorists, a series of events leads to Agent Ferris bringing Chris into the FBI and Liz being kidnapped by the terrorists. Because of the situation involving Liz, Chris is now able to see approximately 2 hours into the future and sees Liz getting blown up. His 2-minute limit is still in effect for all other situations, however. After a bit of show and tell, he convinces the FBI to lend him a hand in saving Liz. The next 10 to 20 minutes are quite an impressive display of the evolution of Chris's power, or what his life must have been like when he glimpses the future. I imagine due to time limitations and a possible overuse of the effects budget, they saved Chris's power explanation and decided to portray it in a visual form until the last bit of the movie. Not a bad thing, but it may have been fun to see that explored a bit more. But then again, if you notice throughout this scene, up until Chris explores the remainder of the ship single-handedly, the FBI agents start dying off one by one until they are immediately around Chris. Apart from the 2 minutes where they split up, if he had that ability, he could have saved more people. Again, a bit of a nitpick, but not a deal breaker, at least for me. Chris is able to rescue Liz from the terrorists, and all appears to be well, except for something Chris missed. The bomb was moved, and the bomb goes off, leveling all of Los Angeles. Regretfully, Chris mutters the words, "I made a mistake," before this happens.
Understatement of the century, I'd say.
I don't know. It could have been worse. Okay, I'll bite. How could it be worse?
It could have been... If you say aliens are gonna knock your lights out.
Bigfoot?
What you just said is one of the most insanely idiotic things I have ever heard.
That wasn't my first choice. I didn't want to... I was gonna say the other thing, but I didn't want you to hate me. Well, it sucks to be you then. What in the devil?
What's going on?
An umbrella? You should have come better prepared if you wanted to beat me. How about you? You're a daft moron.
Man, this is getting weird. It's like a bad dream.
Oh, you've gotta be kidding me.
Yep, through channeling either Huey Lewis and the power of love, or both, Chris realizes what's happened and with a renewed change of heart decides to help the FBI on the condition they keep Liz safe by not getting her involved.
Why do you still have that? I don't know.
Before leaving us to the credit roll, Chris reminds us that the future changes every time you look at it. He hops in a standard government-issued SUV with Agent Ferris and rides off to save Los Angeles.
All in all, I'd say it's a pretty fun movie, well worth the ride.
With the exception of one scene where Chris has a bit of fun with his powers, the movie keeps itself fairly serious the majority of the time.
Is that a bad thing? No.
Though there are some interesting points that do push the suspension of disbelief a little far, like how in the opening scene Chris can somehow hear the chief of security from the control room, or how he heard Agent Ferris from several blocks away when she pleads with him not to do it. Or this scene where the sniper tries to take him out and he exaggerates his bullet dodging skills a little bit too much and just presumably mess with the guy.
Again, small nitpicks, but nothing that really ruined the movie for me overall.
Ahem.
What?
You're going to let that whole jump the shark moment of that was all a dream go?
No, I addressed that. I know it's a big pill to swallow, but...
But what?
Is it too much to ask just to enjoy a movie and appreciate it for what it is?
Come again.
I mean, yes, the movie was cheesy and had some effects that were just thrown in. Didn't you enjoy any of it at all?
Well, I suppose so.
Then are you looking for perfection?
Don't be ridiculous, of course not.
Then why not just enjoy a movie for what it is? I mean, if you go into every movie expecting a Citizen Kane or Mona Lisa equivalent thereof, you're gonna turn into a warped, frustrated old man.
Really, you're gonna get on that moral high horse? If I didn't know any better, I'd say you just described yourself perfectly.
You shut your trap. I'm not like that. Well, not all the time.
Well then, let's put that theory to the test. See if you're man enough to take it to the next level.
What do you mean?
Oh, you know exactly what I mean. It's time for you to sit down and finally watch this.
Oh no. Please. Please don't make me watch that. No.
Hey guys, thanks for watching. If you like what you saw, want to see something improve, consider donating to my Patreon. A couple bucks a month goes a long way. See you soon.